Let's do a quick quiz. Say this word out loud. Did you say interest? Or did you say interest? If you said interest, that's a common error that people make because of how this word is spelled. But this word only has 2 syllables. It's not interest, it's interest. So this is a common pattern we do in English where when we have an ER in the middle that's unstressed, sometimes that syllable just drops, and instead of terest, we just get trist, changes to an R blend. So not interest, but interest. Let's try another one. Say this word out loud. Did you say says or says? Or did you say says? When we say it says, he says, she says, we no longer use that AY pronunciation that we do in I say, you say, etc. So it's really confusing. The spelling looks like says, but it changes to the vowel, says. If you said says, don't worry, that's a common error pattern, and some British accents use more of a says than a says, but in American English, we say this word as says. Okay, so try this word, say it out loud, then listen. Did you say warm with an AR sound? Warm. Or did you say warm, warm with an OR sound? It's actually an OR sound, even though the spelling is letters AR in this word. We say this as warm. It's just like the word war plus an M. So I wore warm clothes. This is another tricky spelling where when we add a W to words with AR, they usually just say the OR sound rather than the R sound. Same is true for warmth, warning, warn, etc. And you might actually be pronouncing these correctly, but you might have thought you were saying an AR sound, or you might be making this error where you're saying it as an AR sound when it really needs an OR sound. It's because there's a strange change with WAR and WOR words that can be kind of confusing. Let me know, is that one that you knew about, or were you already pronouncing it as warm with the OR sound? Okay, say this word out loud. Did you say basically with 4 syllables, or did you say basically with 3 syllables? Basically is correct. We only say 3 syllables here. It sounds like the word base plus ick plus ly. Basically. So this is another common error pattern where it looks like it should be basically, right? We have this A here, ali, and instead we really should spell it basically, like we spell some other words simply, right? In a word like simply, we just spell it with ly, simply. It's a little simpler to understand, but in basically, we spell it with that extra vowel letter, but we don't use a vowel sound there. It's just 3 syllables, basically. So that's a common error pattern. If you said basically, don't feel bad. It's normal because of how it's spelled, but it's good to be aware that a lot of these adverbs that end in ALLY only have 3 syllables. They don't have a syllable for the A sound. Let me know which ones you got correct, which ones surprised you, and if there's any other words like this that you know about that surprise you between how they're spelled and how you say them. Okay, let's try this one. Say this word out loud. Pretty common everyday word, right? And you probably think you're saying it correctly. But what you might be surprised to know is that this one's very misleading because of the spelling. So again, you might be saying it correctly, but thinking you're saying different sounds, or you might be saying it incorrectly because of how it's spelled. So did you say Wih-min with an O and an S sound? Or did you say Wih-min with 2 I sounds? This one is correct. So even though we spell this with an O and an E, it doesn't sound like men, it doesn't have an O sound, It's pronounced women, women, with two I sounds. So it's super misleading, right? It's hard to know. So you might have been saying women, but not realizing that you were using the I sound. So that's great if you're pronouncing it correctly, but it's still good to know what you should be doing and have that association. Or you might have made a little bit of a difference on either of these vowels just because of how they're spelled, especially because we do have the words man and men that follow the spelling rules more, where we do have the a for man and the for men. But in women, we don't follow that rule. We just have the I sound in that second syllable. Okay, so say this out loud and then tell me what you said. Did you say I should have, or I should have? So many people, number one, might not use a contraction. They might say the full word have. It's not wrong, but it's not commonly used in fluent speech because it breaks up the flow. It takes too long and it gives too much importance to an unimportant word have. So most people will contract it. But the problem is, if you're unfamiliar with using contractions, you might not know how to actually pronounce this. It sounds like should have. So we don't have any a vowel once we contract it. We lose both the H and the A, and the VE just sounds like of. It's an sound and a v sound. When kids first learn how to spell this in native speakers, they're pronouncing it correctly. They're saying, I should have done that. They would write it as should of, which is incorrect for writing, but that's actually how it sounds to their ear. So should have, it has the and v sounds. I should have known, I should have been using contractions. Little bit tricky and definitely something that I recommend. I have quite a few resources for using contractions here on the channel and in our Real Talk course on speechmodification.com, so I hope you'll check that out. Okay, say this word out loud. Very common everyday word, right? Did you say it with an or sound, work, or did you say it with an sound, work? So letters OR just say the sound in this word. So when we say a word like we were working, these two sounds should be the same. Most of you probably actually do use when you say work, but you might be thinking and noticing this OR, you might be thinking you need to do something different. So in your mind, you might be saying this slightly off or mispronouncing it because of how it's spelled. So just like when we were looking at WAR, WOR words change. They typically will say the sound and not the or sound. Same is true for worry, world, worth, worthy, lots and lots of words that have the OR. Worm, they say the sound.